Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? It's your boy, the Ultimate Rental. You already know. Today, I'm talking about this, the Dye Rize CZR. For once, I'm not going to do an unboxing video and a review, because honestly, it doesn't come with very much. Just some dye lube, a barrel bag, a sad O-ring kit, a 9-volt battery, all wrapped in a special cardboard box. I'm lying, it's not special, it sucks ass. But that's what you get in this price range, right? The Dye Rize CZR is an entry-level tournament paintball marker. Now, Dye saw a gap in the market about 6 years ago for an entry-level tournament marker. This market's still pretty lacking in this price range for a decent tournament-grade marker. The only real competition to this in this price range, in my opinion, is the Mini GS, which is about $40 more. But in 2014, Dye introduced the Proto Matrix Rail, or PMR, as part of their lower-end Proto line. Dye then followed up with the Dye Proto Rise and the Proto Rise Max, and now the latest version of Dye's attempt at an inexpensive tournament-grade marker, the Dye Rize CZR. So Dye makes good products, right? Well, kind of. They make really nice things, but they tend to be overpriced. I mean, I love Dye products. They make some of the most beautiful paintball gear. But I feel like there's always markers in the same price category I would rather buy. That might explain why Dye markers lose their value very quickly. They're like buying a brand new car. They lose half their value as soon as you take them off the lot. So Dye is trying to compete in that lower end / entry level market, and they had to cut a lot of corners to do it. Let's go through some of the features of this marker. So the first thing you'll notice, it doesn't come with a marker case. I mean, I had to buy this case separately, since the gun only comes with a cardboard box with foam. To be fair, other markers in this price range, such as the Mini GS and Dangerous Power Guns, also don't come with a case, although the ETHA 2 does, though it's a bit more expensive. Nevertheless, the case is not a deal breaker for me. Just grab a case from Exalt or HK and problem solved. That's what I did. I grabbed an HK case. Works just fine. So I want to start with the bolt system, because that's always the most interesting part of the marker to me. To remove the bolt system, you need a really fat Allen key. You unscrew it a couple of times. You unscrew it a couple of times and then you pull it out gently. Gently, okay, that wasn't very gentle, but you get the idea. So if you keep turning, it'll just unscrew the cap from the bolt itself, as you can see. So yeah, so you don't want to just keep turning and turning on that a few turns and then pull out. If you just keep turning the bolt, all you're doing is rubbing the O-rings in the inside of the valve chamber. So that's part of the reason why I feel like this is not for entry-level players. These little things can easily disturb the proper functioning of the marker, and they're not really common knowledge. They certainly didn't have ease of maintenance in mind when they made this marker. So the Dye Rize CZR comes with the Dye Fusion Bolt system, which operates at only 135 PSI. That's very low for a marker this cheap, or I'd say inexpensive. The super low operating pressure means that gun will be able to handle that brittle tournament grade paint. It's going to kick very little and it's going to have a very smooth shot. And I can vouch for that, guys. The shot is super smooth. It has that high-end marker shot feel. I prefer the shot of the CZR a lot more than the Mini GS. The Mini GS has a distinct ping sound when you shoot it that I don't mind, but it just doesn't sound nice. The Dye Rize CZR, on the other hand, feels more like the shot is being pushed out of the barrel. Like it pops out like a marshmallow. It's a very nice shot feel. So the Fusion Bolt is a spool valve, and this particular one needs a lot of love. I would say, to be safe, do a general cleaning and maintenance on this bolt around every 3,000 to 4,000 shots. As you can see, there's, count them, 13 O-rings on the drivetrain. Again, this means more maintenance for that player that may be upgraded from a Tipman or a Spider poppet valve that required little to no maintenance. And Dye mentions this twice in the manual, like here where they say if the Rize CZR bolt is not kept clean and well lubed, you will start seeing erratic velocity, leaks, or over a long period of time, physical damage to the components. Yikes. So how does it work? Well, the air enters the drivetrain into two separate parts. The back cap and the manifold here in the back, and through the solenoid and the can in the front. The air in the front pushes back on the sail, holding the bolt in the back position. Once the gun is fired, the solenoid activates and the air is released from the can. The pressure from the air supply moves the bolt forward, and then the valve opens, and the air in the back moves through the bolt and pushes the paintball forward through and out the barrel. I mean, it's not the simplest firing cycle. A lot of things can go wrong, but that explains why there's so many O-rings on this. The bolt system is going to be more reliable than previous versions like the PMR, but it will require a high level of maintenance and care to consistently function properly, and expect the odd leak here or there. We'll do a section both on basic maintenance and programming in just a bit. If you bought one of these and you're interested, stay tuned for that. Bolt maintenance. So again, you want to take out the bolt using a fat Allen key. It comes in the case. You want to turn a few times and then pull out gently, and you can actually twist as you pull it out. Sorry. There's your bolt system. Okay, and here's where you'll begin to understand what I mean by this is not a starter gun. I mean, count the O-rings on there. You're going to want to take it apart. Comes apart there and also there. You might want to take the O-ring out, or maybe I'll put some quick lube on it so I can pop it out without damaging it. And there you go. It's 4 pieces. So next you just want to clean all the different components of the bolt system, just like any other spool valve. And there you go, your bolt system is clean. Another thing you want to keep in mind is don't use the Planet Eclipse or the Dow 33. Some people use it, but I've noticed that when you use this type of grease with the dye guns especially, you'll get a lot of bolt stick because of the thickness of the grease. You want to use a lower viscosity grease such as the dye lube that actually comes with it, dye slick lube, or hater sauce. This is a really thin, as you can see, it's really thin, and it'll prevent it from sticking. But we'll go ahead and we'll use the dye lube. Might as well not waste that. So all we're gonna do is just put a little bit of grease on all the O-rings, just like any other spool valve. And you need to do this about every 3,000 to 4,000 shots. It's really simple. They don't give you much because they don't want you to cake it, I guess, but I prefer Planet Eclipse to give you a lot more. I figure let me decide how much I want to put on it, right? Always remember to get that one's a little tougher to get. So. nice and wet. Make sure you always get that inner O-ring. Good about that. Just gonna get inside here too. The good thing about the hater sauce is it's blue, so you can see where you've put it on, whereas sometimes the white lube, like, you can't really tell if you put it on, if you put it on thin. So that's it. Don't want to overdo it, don't want to underdo it. It's a little bit of a balance. Okay, let's just reassemble our bolt system. So let's put that through there. So you're done. Put it back in your gun. Don't over tighten. Just snug. And you're good. That's it. Bolt maintenance. Dye Rize CZR. This marker is made completely out of composite nylon with the exception of the grips. Of course the bolt system, screws, other things like that, but other than that, completely nylon. Including that cam lever feed neck. Unlike previous versions of this marker which had that aluminum feed neck, Dye has now gone to the nylon. It's not a big deal, but it seems like a feature that was taken away to cut costs. Again, I'll note the price of the gun, but I want to mention that Dangerous Power offers gun in the same price range that are all aluminum, and that Mini GS is also all aluminum. It does have that hourglass ultralight frame, which is also composite nylon, but very, very comfortable. And they use that premium Dye sticky rubber, which feels so nice in the hands. It doesn't have a screen, which I find is important to have if you are in fact using this for tournaments where you might have to adjust on the fly. And while we're talking about the grips, I might as well talk about the Dye Hyper 3 inline regulator. This regulator, they've been using it for a long time. I find it to be consistent and reliable. It's a proven system, but my issues are, number one, with the rounded grip. It just doesn't feel comfortable in my hand. The grip rotates, like you can see it spins, and it's just not like a solid feel. Like, I just want a solid feel when I grab a gun, and that twisting, I just find it annoying. And the second issue I have is with that macro line. Like, I mean, typically I don't mind having a macro line on a gun, but this is a huge metal elbow right here in the center. It's an eyesore. And actually it can interfere with how you're holding the gun since it moves around, right? So I just moved it there. Or let me just do it so I can show you guys. So I just moved it there. So let's say I'm going to grab it. Like, I just find it annoying, okay? It may not bother you, and some people actually prefer this. They say it can fit their thumb easily inside. It's all about preference, but that's why I do these videos, right? So you can consider this before you buy it. It is coming with that on-off airport ASA, which works very well. I mean, most markers are coming with an on-off ASA these days, even in this price range, but it's a must-have. The airport on-off ASA works very simply by using a small lever to connect and, well, connect and disconnect the air. I much rather prefer the Planet Eclipse Pops ASA, but I've noticed an issue with connecting the newer Ninja tanks that have a ball valve. So an airport on-off ASA. Surely this isn't where Dye cut any corners, but au contraire, mon frère, which is French for what the frig, man. Guys, this is it. The biggest deal breaker for me. An entry-level marker, you would assume that younger players are going to be the primary consumers. So we would also assume that they don't have any knowledge about purge systems. Check this out. There's no tank, no hopper. Okay, turn the marker on. It's on. What the frig? Like, who would guess the on-off system doesn't actually purge the air out of the marker? I mean, I know this isn't uncommon, especially in these lower end guns, but to call a gun an entry-level marker, you're expecting young people with no technical experience in most cases to know this? I reached out to Dye about this as I had bought one for my nephew, and his dad called me angry that he would shoot off the gun randomly, and in fact he hit his dad with a ball. Dye responded by saying, read the manual carefully, make sure you fire a clearing shot after degassing the gun, and always treat the marker like it's loaded. Well, I had to explain that the on-off ASA doesn't fully purge the air out of the gun to his dad. This is not common knowledge, even for the supervising adult, and yes, I can treat the marker like it's always loaded, but guess what? I have to take the barrel off and put it in the gun case. Will I remember the next time I take it out to watch for any leftover air? Maybe not. Maybe they'll take out my eye. So guys, that was my rant. I feel like it's really dangerous. It's a really dangerous thing that Dye did here by not having any way to manually release the air without taking a shot. Maybe you guys don't mind, I don't know. It's definitely caused some growing pains for me. Just be careful when you buy this gun, especially if you're buying it for a young player. So let's talk about the barrel, because that alone is worth buying this marker. I mean, Dye never disappoints with their barrels. They have the best barrels in the game. For an entry-level marker, this one is also a beauty. The CZR is coming with the Dye Core 2-piece 14-inch precision honed barrel. The finish is beautiful on it. It looks amazing. It comes with a single .689 barrel back. I know people like the free kits because of the versatility of the bore sizing. I'm just as happy with a .685 Dye boomstick, to be honest with you. So down the barrel and inside the chamber, you'll notice it comes with a 4th generation eye pipe, or they're calling it an anti-chop eye system, or ACE. The eye pipe is just a plastic tube inside the chamber that protects the eyes from getting paint on them if you break a ball. It also has integrated detents, these little blue things, which hold the ball in the chamber and prevent it from falling out of the barrel. I mean, many people can't stand the eye pipe, but me, yeah, pretty much the same. I hate this thing. It's one of the worst things about buying a Dye gun for me. Probably why more often than not I choose another platform. Like, I get it, right? The eye pipe is supposed to keep the eyes of your marker clean. It's supposed to make cleaning breaks out of your marker easier. But what I don't like is one more part to worry about, right? Like, it's plastic, so it can be damaged or it'll wear over time. It needs to be replaced. You know, if you over tighten your barrel, you can actually crack this thing. So I've seen people that, yeah, and it's actually not very easy to put back in either. If you don't put it back in properly, you can damage it or shoot it out of your gun. I'd just rather have a regular eye system with easy to access eyes. I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you guys like the eye pipe? Do you think it's unnecessary? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your opinions on it. And I just want to make sure that I don't damage it while doing this review either. So yeah, no, that looks good. Alright. Programming. So the first thing you need to do is you need to take out 3 screws on the right side of the gun. Okay, inside the gun you'll see there's a switch. One has the number 1, which is up. The other has the number 2 with the lever down. To program the marker, you have to pull the number 2 lever up. Let's just do that. Okay, so now it's up. Turn on the gun, and you'll see it'll flash a whole bunch of colors. That means you're in programming mode.
It starts on green, which is trigger sensitivity. To cycle through the options, you need to just press on the trigger. And back to green, there's 4 options. When you get to the setting you want, you just hold the trigger down and it will flash the number that it's currently set to. You're just going to press the trigger to whatever value you want to change it to. So it's very simple. So as I said, it starts on green, which is trigger sensitivity. That's the amount of time you want the trigger to have been released before you can fire again. Red is your dwell setting. That is the amount of time that the valve remains open during a firing cycle. Don't mess with the dwell unless you're having issues. The factory dwell setting is 40, and that's ideal. Blue is your rate of fire. I will note that the number of trigger pulls doesn't correspond directly with the rate of fire. For example, 10 pulls is not 10 balls per second. You know, the programming of this gun is a bit more complicated than it needs to be with the switch inside and with the coding. That kind of sucks. And finally, yellow, which is your firing mode. Okay, so let's start with the rate of fire. I want to change it to 10.5, which is the standard rate of fire in tournaments. So that will be 16 trigger pulls, which is kind of weird. Okay, so let's just go to blue, hold the trigger down, it'll flash. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And there you go. It's now set at 10.5 balls per second. And next I want to change the firing mode. So I'll go to my yellow. So the firing modes are 1, trigger pull is semi-automatic, 2 is millennium mode, 3 is PSP, and 4 is full auto. I want millennium mode because that corresponds with the current NXL mode at 10.5 balls a second, so I want to choose the second option. So I'll hold the trigger down, it'll flash the current setting, which is set at 3, 1, 2, and there you go. It's set to millennium mode. And that's it. Programming is done. Once you're done, turn your marker off. Done. Don't forget to switch the lever back. So the number 2 goes back down. That's it. Programming for the Dye Rize CZR done.
Okay guys, so I'm out here and we're testing out the CZR. I'm here with George. We got it chronoed at about 280. I have about 3000 PSI in my 4500 tank, and it's a super low pressure regulator. So it's a Ninja Pro V2 super low pressure 280 chrono. We're gonna shoot some balls and see how this thing does. I have it set on full auto at 10.5 balls a second. So let's see how it does. George is gonna be doing the shooting for us. Stay tuned. How's it feel?
Feels good. Not much kick, very lightweight shot. Pretty consistent for the gun that it is.
Put some more balls in there and shoot some more. Ready? Yep. Okay, go. Out of air?
Out of air.
Alright. You can see the drop off. Okay guys, so as you saw, that was the Dye Rize CZR shooting. It did pretty well. You did see some drop off there at the end. It was just because we were running out of air. That has nothing to do with the actual functioning of the gun. I'm here with George.
Hey, how's it going?
Thank you guys. We'll see you back in the studio. So what do I personally think of this marker? Well, I like it. In my opinion, compared to the Mini GS, this marker is going to be quieter. It's going to kick less. It's going to handle paint better. It has a better barrel. It's not going to be as reliable, as air efficient. It's going to need a lot more maintenance. And I much rather prefer the way that the GS feels in my hands by a lot. I mean, I don't like the shape of the rounded foregrip and seriously dislike that it moves. I like a grip to be solid, not to mention the macro line with this huge metal elbow sucks ass. But there's pros and cons compared to the Mini GS. I would say the Mini GS is a way better gun for a starter or an entry level player. So why is this gun not for an entry level player in my opinion? Well, number one, the eye pipe. As I mentioned, it's just a pain. It's another part to worry about. It could be damaged in multiple ways. This gun is high maintenance. It requires a lot of love and know-how, which sucks for a first-time player. It'll be like trial by fire. It's not super reliable compared to the Mini GS. Like, the reliability pales in comparison. However, you shouldn't really have a problem if you take care of it. Just remember, you get what you pay for. And the ultra reason that it's not for a starter, in my opinion, is you cannot degas the gun without taking a shot after turning off the air. Big problem for me. Probably why I'll never buy it for a kid again. But what do I like about it? I mean, this gun is super smooth. But this gun does have a super smooth shot. It's comparable to a high-end. It has an amazing price tag at only $300. It's the cheapest tournament marker I would actually consider buying. It's tournament ready programming. It's really a tournament gun. You can adjust the rate of fire, the firing mode, all that jazz. It comes with the dye barrel, which is reason enough to buy it. Before the Mini GS was coming with that two-piece barrel, the value of this gun was incredible. I still personally prefer the dye barrels. They're absolutely awesome. And with that low operating pressure, it's going to be very easy on paint. As I mentioned, it will be able to handle that tournament grade paintball without many ball breaks. Overall, I'd say this is a very good marker. It's worth the price tag if none of the things I mentioned above are deal breakers. If they are, you know, pick up a Mini GS. That's it, guys. That's my review of the Dye Rize CZR. Please like, subscribe, all that jazz. It would be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys on the next episode.